Apalak, hi, how are you?
Amit, all good. How are you?
I'm doing good, Apalak. Apalak, today's story is about the three largest cloud providers globally who have recently released their quarterly financial earnings. And reports suggest that all three of them together captures about 70% of the market share in the IaaS market. Your take on this?
Amit, looking at these numbers and looking at the growth, do you have any sense that there's a looming recession? These numbers indicate otherwise. I think the cloud providers, and I'm not just confined to these three, and including the others, be it an Alibaba, IBM, Salesforce, Tencent, Oracle, everybody has had a great run. And obviously these are the big daddies of the cloud game. So phenomenal run for all of them, right? But let me just break it down in terms of numbers. Like you said, all these three, in terms of at least from the infrastructure standpoint, they command a market share of almost 70%, which is huge, right?
Yes.
Almost as good as an oligopoly, right? Google has been a late entrant into this space, right? But I think it's done very well for itself ever since Thomas Kurian came in back in 2019 and has become their CEO. So it gives the much required push that Google wanted, considering that they were a late entrant. AWS clearly is the market leader in this category, right? It is the preferred choice of many organizations, be it large and small. And look at the breadth of reach. 84 availability zones across 26 regions, with 24 more availability zones expected in the next few fiscals across 8 regions. So I think they really, because this is a big daddy's game. You have to understand. Only the companies with the money and muscle can survive this, right? And that is so true for all the big guys. I mean, this is not a also-ran game, right? Either you're there or you're not there.
Right.
So this is what AWS is. Interestingly, Microsoft, which is, if you consider the entire cloud story, which includes your infra, PaaS, and SaaS, maybe the biggest player. It is the biggest player because they have a very strong SaaS portfolio. But infrastructure story also very, very giving stiff competition to AWS. And if you remember last week, we covered the story of Microsoft's partnership with Oracle on its OCI integration with Azure. So these are some of the strategic decisions that are helping Microsoft making inroads, especially with the mid to large enterprises. Very interesting times ahead. So, but if you break it down from an operating income, which is where the really real money matters, where your profit before tax, we see Google actually, in spite of doing a great run, actually has made losses. But you have to understand what we try to imply here. By loss, essentially it seems to indicate that they're pumping in much more money than what they got back in return. So this is, as I said, a long-term strategy, right? Google is fine with making losses as long they see long-term commitments and they're clearly in for that. AWS clocked around $5.72 billion with Microsoft, which actually does not sound out its call out its cloud numbers like that, but they call it the Microsoft Intelligent Cloud, which includes the Azure platform along with other solutions. That clocked around $8.68 billion in operating income. All in all, great times ahead for these majors. Let's see if the recession can take a headwind. I don't see them going flat or decelerating. Maybe the rate of growth may reduce. That's all.
Right. Sure, Apalak. Thank you so much for the great insights as always. So that's it for today's episode, and I look forward to connecting with you again tomorrow. Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye.